So, do you know what your style says about you? Well, today we're going to find out with our very special guest here on Supercharged Sunday, Kristina Pernfors, who is an image stylist and interior stylist specialist. And she's going to tell you why style matters. Welcome, Kristina.
Hey, thank you. Thank you for having me, Emily. I'm happy to be here.
It is wonderful to have you. And Kristina is a wonderful talent. And you're going to see right now all the wonderful things she's going to share with us today. But the question is, Kristina, how did you get into style and design in the first place?
Well, I grew up around clothes. My mom and my grandmother owned women's boutiques. And so I kind of grew up in that environment, loved it. But I think so I've always been interested in style and kind of, fashion design, all of that. Also being Swedish, we tend to love interior design because it's just kind of that in our DNA. But it was after I spent 10 years in advertising. And it was after that when I had to go back to college in order to keep my visa in the US. Then I decided, you know what, let me study interior design. So I did, because it was kind of a hobby and I figured, why not? And that's how I became an interior designer. And then throughout the years, I've heard many times from clients that, oh, can you fix me too? So I look as good as my house. And I kind of took that to heart and figured, you know what, let's work on that. Because apparently, obviously there's a disconnect for many people. Like you can fix one part, but then the other part feels left out. So I then certified as an image consultant.
And I love the fact that you do both image, personal style, and home. But let's just talk a little bit about the Swedish design, because as I've shared with you, one of my favorite stores in the world is IKEA. Yes, the number one raving IKEA fan. And why I like them is because they make everything that it's practical, but it's fun. So well designed. So what is the source of Swedish design or Scandinavian design? Where did that whole concept come from?
So it came from, way back. It was the Queen of Sweden was very impressed by Louis XIV, the French king who did the Versailles and all those, very kind of ornate designs. So Sweden didn't have the resources for it. So he made like a plainer version of it. And the materials we had to work with the lighter woods, the birches and all that. So that's kind of how it started. So he wanted to have his own style as well, just like Louis XIV did. So that's where it started, but much lighter and we also needed light because it's a dark country in the winter. So needed to be light and airy. And that's where it started. And then kind of just through the centuries, it has to do with Swedish people are pretty practical. And we have had to be too during harsh conditions. So it all had to be with, yes, it can be pretty, but it needs to be practical. So form follows fun and not the other way around. So that's kind of where it was born.
Well, that's a perfect segue into what I would consider your style as well, and how that influences the whole idea of design and being able to identify your own personal style. So let's just launch right in, because you have so much valuable insights to share that we need to know how we can really know what our style is saying about us and how to supercharge our style.
You go. Let's do it.
So where do we start? What's the first thing we need to know as we embark on this journey?
Well, I think a lot of people start in the wrong end. You start with what's in fashion or what's trendy right now, or, follow the herd, so to speak. You need to start with looking at yourself. Who are you? And what is it you want people to think when they see you? What is it you want to express to the world? As we talk about brands, we have a personal brand. We're born with it. Most of us don't know what it stands for, but just like, things have a brand, we have a brand as well. And our brand really is what people say about us when we're not in the room. That's what our brand is. So we want to make sure they say about us what we want them to say about us. So the first thing I always tell my clients, and the first thing you really need to do, is to think about yourself. What is it you want to express? Finding those attributes or those adjectives that you want to have describe you. So that's always, and of course it's easier than just flipping a switch, but it is work that's really important. And it kind of is the foundation for everything you do, is finding that personal brand, what you are, your values, what you stand for. And so for instance, it could be that you want to be loyal, seen as loyal, successful, knowledgeable, trendy, whatever, approachable. But I say about 5 is the max, because otherwise we can want to be everything under the sun, and then we're nothing. So really thinking about what you want people to say about you when you're not in the room. That's the start of everything. And that's where people kind of skip that step or don't even think about it. And it's super important.
But that can be really challenging as well. And I don't know, when you work with your clients, do you find that whole stage of the whole identification stage and the narrowing down? Because you can have this whole list and you're like, well, I am that, and I can be that, and I'm like that, and that's me. But then to really refine it, that refining process, how do you help people refine it and narrow it down?
So starting, you just like you say, we want to be everything, or we think we want to be everything, but having someone else do the exercise with you. So having a friend, or I love it when a complete stranger who just met you says the 5 things they see in you, or how because it's all about that first impression. What was their read on you? Right. So in the past, I've done it a lot in workshops where people that don't know each other get to pick adjectives for each other. And so, but if you don't want to go out and stop strangers on the street, you can ask someone in your family or your friends to pick 5 adjectives they think describe you. And then you can sort of see where yours and their correlate. That's probably a really strong brand attribute for you, since you both see it. So that's how you kind of narrow it down, the funnel. And it's, you got to sleep on it a little too. You got to sort of play around with the words, and then progressively you kind of find your 5 set words, but it takes a while, definitely. Right.
Yeah. And then you also have it's like getting a sense of subjectivity in there. Objectivity, not subjectivity. Yes. You want to get as objective as you can, so that you can do that. So when we talk about why style matters, why does it matter? Why is it so important? So that style is the silent ambassador of who you are. Mm-hmm. And just like a picture says more than 1,000 words, that we form first impressions in less than 7 seconds. Yes. So your style is what says, it's the first thing that speaks about you. Because when you form a first impression about someone, the biggest portion of it, about 80%, is how the person looks, the appearance. That's the first read. Not what you say, because that comes later, when you open your mouth. And in today's society too, where we do so much online, that when you're going to meet someone, you usually Google them or check their Facebook page or LinkedIn page. And so that appearance, that presence, it's going to be definitely much more visual than verbal. So that's, we often prepare what we're going to say, like express ourselves, but people have already formed an opinion about us before we open our mouths. So style really is the silent ambassador. It is speaking for you at all times. And also putting a premium on that as well, Because I think a lot of people, when they hear the word style, they're like, well, either they don't see themselves that way, that's one, or they haven't taken the time to really consider what is my personal style. I just wear something I like, or I just do things I like, as opposed to maybe being more intentional about the process. And then from there, what is it actually saying to the world? And pretty much reinforcing what you're saying, because this is not, it's not vanity. And that's another thing. Some people may think, well, I have other things to focus on, or that's not important to me. And so we're highlighting today why it's important for everyone, whether you consider yourself stylish or fashionable or not. It's not about that. And I think that's the distinction.
Exactly. It's not fluff. It's not vanity. It really is way deeper than skin deep. It really is. Whether you think about it, whether it's important to you or not, it's important to other people are going to judge you regardless. So it's so important that we are intentional about how we show up, because otherwise you're going to be misinterpreted and probably misunderstood.
What would you say to someone who says, well, I don't really care what people think? What do you say to that person?
Well, if you live in a vacuum, that's great. And of course, sure, that's great if you don't care what other people think, as long as you are aware of that, as long as you know that people are going to say something or have opinions. Great. If you don't care, fine. But then just be aware that not everyone thinks the way you do, and be aware that you might get misinterpreted, and just be ready for that.
Exactly. And also what you're saying too is like, who are you trying to communicate to as well? Because if you're communicating to people who don't care, that's another story. But if you are communicating to those who do, and I think most people actually do, in one way or another. So that's
our brains too, whether we care or not, our brains work independently of us. So we are going to judge people whether we want it or not. We're going to put them, because the brain likes order. The brain likes to put things in boxes because that creates order, and that's how it can think more clearly. So you like to put things or people in boxes when you meet them. Okay, this person is like that. That person is like that, because it just makes our life easier. It makes it easier for the brain to process. So it's going to happen whether you want it or not.
Right. Because it's like almost like a shortcut your brain does to say, well, this is a quick way to analyze and classify and categorize. And whether it's 100% accurate or not, that's not really the point at that moment. It's like, this is where you fit based on what I see in 5 seconds or less. Yes. Right.
And the old Axe body spray commercial that said that first impressions last, and they do, so it takes about 10 encounters to change your first impression. Mm-hmm. And it's only because our brains don't want to be wrong.
All right.
So defy us, like, oh, maybe she's not that like that. Maybe she's more, it's going to, no, she fits so nicely in this box, going to stay there. So, but after about 10, if you're completely wrong, then the brain is going to go, okay, sure, we'll move her to another box.
Mm-hmm. Intriguing. So you want to be in boxes. So I have to say, and I know we're going to talk about this a little bit more, you have created a wonderful course, an online digital course about bringing your own style. And I'm so happy that I have taken the course and completed it, and I can highly recommend it. And there's so many things that you mentioned in there. And what really struck me is that how you managed to maintain that balance between what's practical and what's finding that makes sense for you, plus what is that message you want to say. So you're not like telling everyone they all have to have the same style or wear the same this or that. It's what works for you, body shape and all of that. And you go into great detail about it. And so I would love for you to kind of walk through some of the highlights of the things about what your style is saying and how can we adjust making it say the right things.
Yeah.
Or what we wanted to say, shall I say.
Yeah. I love to. It's my favorite subject. And so, yeah, I think, and kind of walking through what we go through in the course, so as I said, we start with the foundation, your personal brand, what you want to say, and then moving into what, the true aspects of you. So looking at body shape, because, it's not one size fits all. It's not one shape fits all. And I think throughout the years, I see that's where the biggest aha moment is for my clients, is learning about your shape and how you should actually dress that shape. All of a sudden it's like, oh my goodness, that's why all these things don't look good on me. And you stop buying the wrong things. So you actually save a lot of money. And so that's really, and I think that's something we all should learn in school. I mean, it shouldn't be luxury knowledge for, a few of us. It should be just like you learn about other things about your body. You should learn, okay, this is your shape. This is the best way to dress that shape. So that's one of the things we go through. Also color, because just like the world around us has color, we carry color with us in our skin and eyes and hair. And really how to enhance your own color is really important. You don't want it to fight with you. You want to enhance what you already have. So that's another area that we go through. And then coming down to style categories, I think that's where really finding that consistency, because when you have consistency, when you know about yourself and you can stay consistent, that's how you really create confidence in yourself, and also confidence to the world that you get that strong brand. People know what you stand for and who you are. And I think for a lot of us, that's where we kind of fumble in the dark, is we don't know if we like that, or if we like this, or am I boho, or am I sophisticated, that's where we also kind of buy a lot of things that other people say look good on us. And then we come home and we go, wait, this is so not me. But we easily get talked into. So it's important to find what your style preferences are, both for your personal style and for your interior style. So those are things that I go through too in the course. And it's, as you said, style is not about fashion, what's in fashion right now. And when people ask me that, I often say, well, if they say, oh, what should I be wearing this season? I said, well, you need to tell me who you are, and then I'll tell you what you should be wearing, because it's not about fashion is fleeting, and it can be fun, but it's not something, we don't need to chase that. We need to find our own fashion, our own style. And then we can enhance it with what's out there available for us.
And Kristina, how would you define the word style?
So, and that's funny, because that's something that I ask often my kind of when I research things. For me, style is about consistency. It's about having a consistent take on what you're wearing, how you live. Because style it's about the consistency of, and that you touched on it. It was about earlier, but I say everything about you speaks, meaning it's not just the clothes you wear, it's your hair, it's your accessories, it's the car you drive, it's the flowers you buy, it's the notes you send, it's all of the above. It's everything that is related and attached to you is part of style. So having true style for me is when someone is consistent throughout. That I consider stylish.
Consistency as being style. That, because people know what to expect from you, right? You're kind of setting the expectations and meeting them. So could you just add to this about budget? So we're living in a time, we know we're living in a turbulent time, a lot of economic impacts on different people, some people losing work, some people doing well. I mean, it runs the gamut. So what would you say to someone, especially again now in these perilous times, if you will, where they will say, well, I can't afford to show up the way I want to, or I can't afford to do XYZ. How do you address that component?
That's a great point. And I say that style is not a question of age, size, or budget. You can do style on any budget, because again, it's about consistency. But say that you want, as they say, you want champagne on a beer budget, you can still do that, because there's a lot of opportunities, and especially over the last year online as well, for for consignment shopping, for instance. We live in a town where we have great consignment stores for both clothing and for furniture. But now online, they have such great consignment shops as well. So you really can, when you know what your style is, you can really go out and look for pieces on a shoestring budget. It's available out there if you just spend a little time looking for it. But I like to often work with what we already have in our closets. And sometimes it's just adding little tweaks to it. Maybe it's just adding some new accessories to it. Maybe it's just changing the shoes. That's all you need to do to enhance the outfit. It's not about just getting all new or changing everything out. It's all in the details. It's all about those little tweaks you can do to the things you already have. But I think for both interiors and clothing, pre-loved, as I call it, it's not pre-used, it's pre-loved. So you know what? One person's trash is another person's treasure. So go out, and really that's a great source. And it's also friendly for the environment, because the fashion industry is one of the biggest biggest threats to our environment, because they use so much water in production. There's so much waste filling our landfills because of overproduction of clothes. So really think about both your wallet and your environment when pre-loved shopping.
I like that. I think you coined a whole new expression. Pre-loved is it. It's always been loved. It's going to continue to be loved by someone else.
That's right.
That's really, really great. And it's also reassuring, and it reminds people that you can get more creative in how you do things. And it's about challenging your creativity to produce your identity. I think that's an excellent, excellent insight. And I have to say, Kristina, I noticed in your beautiful background, I see the picture of Marilyn Monroe peeking out. What does Marilyn Monroe mean to you in terms of style? Like, where does she fit in?
Well, I think there are some of those fashion icons like Audrey Hepburn. She's actually on the other wall. They're just icons because I think too, they were also consistent in the way they showed up. And of course, it was an era where glamour was more, you dressed up to get the paper in the driveway, but which is we wouldn't do today. But she definitely was consistent in how she showed up and didn't apologize for it. So I love my fashion icons.
and that also helps as far as it's kind of like a certain standard that you might want to either aspirational in terms of just what something represents. And for each person, it can be different. And it's not to say that we have the same icons or we have the same whatever. Again, it's your own personal style and identity that you want to reflect. And that's so important to highlight to people, because many times when it comes to style, we're trying to fit into someone else's style or someone else's thing. I mean, you can borrow inspiration, but that doesn't mean you need to be them. You need to be your version.
Exactly. Yeah. And I often ask when people say, well, how do I find my style? And well, you can start by seeing if you have a fashion icon, and it doesn't have to be a famous person. It could be, your grandmother or the woman living down the street or a friend. But if you have someone whose style you admire, that's probably a good indication for what your style is, or at least a taste of it or a mix of it is. And again, we very rarely are carbon copies of someone else. We're always going to be our own mix. But it's just important to find that mix and to name it, to really put a label on it, because you make it easier for yourself when shopping and when kind of knowing what's right for you and staying consistent.
Yeah, it's like a reference point.
Exactly.
So that keeps you focused. So one of the things I also loved about your course is that you highlight doing a closet audit. And so now I have a new nickname for you, by the way. You're the Swedish Marie Kondo, okay?
That's such an honor.
So tell us about the closet audit. That is such a great concept.
Yeah, it's something I've done for clients for years and years, but I did come up with a version for people to do it, how you easily can do it for yourself on an ongoing basis, because it is something we should do much more regularly than once every 5 years, or you should do it every season. You should have little mini audits of your closet, because think about it, 80% of the clothes in your closet is, most of us only use about 20% of our closet 80% of the time. So the rest 80 is just hanging there. And that's really expensive real estate for, especially if you live in a city, you might not have a lot of closet space available. Then get rid of the things that you don't use, because otherwise they're just taking up precious space. And again, it's almost like losing weight when you lose a lot of the clutter and the noise in your closet. You get dressed a whole lot quicker when you know that everything in there fits you like a glove. Mm-hmm. And it really is just a good audit to go through and see where you're at in your life right now. It might be something that you loved last year, but you know, we go through phases, and you might have a new job, and that piece does not belong in your closet anymore. And just like shopping for consignment pieces is great, it's also great to consign pieces that you don't use. So it's great for, you know, you get some money back, and also, again, great to share with others. Your pre-loved items become someone else's loved items. Yeah. But it really, it's all about making it easier for you, because I think we can all get overwhelmed when we go into our closets and we try on outfit after outfit after outfit, and then we default to the same clothes we always wear anyway.
Yeah, that's another brilliant aspect here, because it's almost like, as you said, a life audit. Not only just your closet, it's not just about your clothes, it's about your entire life. And your clothes accompany you through your life, and they have an impact on how you feel, obviously how you look, but also how you feel. And I know it can be very frustrating when you go in there like, I have nothing to wear, but the closet is full.
Yes, exactly. Closet full of clothes and nothing to wear.
Yeah, because maybe the things aren't even speaking to you. So what your style, how your style speaks, your closet isn't speaking back to you.
Exactly. And we, as women, we tend to hold on to clothes too for emotional reasons, or just, and sometimes if we have gained weight, we hold on to the smaller sizes, because one day we're going to get back there. Mm-hmm. Well, hold on to one or two pieces, because when you get back there, you might not want to wear those clothes anyway. And I also think that sometimes when we have a whole section of our closet that is aspirational, meaning we're not there yet, it's kind of like someone is laughing at you every time you go into the closet. It's like, haha, can't wear me. That's not nice. I think we should, that doesn't serve any purpose. So you can hold on to a pair of favorite jeans or something, and then the day if that's what you want to get back into them, the day you do, you have a celebration, and then the rest can leave.
Help people get through that emotional block of separation from certain things that they seem attached to?
Well, it's when you've done the groundwork, meaning when you've gone through the process of knowing, this is what I want, this is the language I want to speak, this is what I want to say about myself, this is my brand. You know your body shape, and you know now you've learned the best way to dress it. You know your colors, you know your style categories. When you know those things, it's going to be so much easier. You see it. You see your clothes from a completely different perspective, and all of a sudden you go, wait, that's silly. This doesn't even look good on me. Why am I holding on to it? So it's not like ripping a bandage anymore. It's more you go through the process and you see it for yourself.
So you're able to make more objective decisions yet again.
Yes, that's
Yes. So this is really a brilliant work that you're doing, Kristina. And I find it really important. It's another aspect of entrepreneurship or business ownership or whatever category someone falls into, but as an entrepreneur, your marketing is very much tied up with your personal style. And so it's not something you can afford to ignore unless you want to ignore your marketing, which of course is what drives your business and drives your sales. So it's a really important component of the bigger picture that I would encourage people to take very seriously, because it is, as you said, the silent ambassador, and it speaks louder. As you say, the picture speaks more than 1,000 words, or 1,000, what is it? 1,000, whatever.
Picture says more than 1,000 words.
Thank you. Yes, exactly. So that does that. So Kristina, how can people find you online? How can they take your course? How does that all work?
So I have, my website is Aesthetics and Style, which is really hard to spell, but aestheticsandstyle.com.
We'll have it in the link. We'll have a link for it.
Okay, great. So that's where you can find all of the, you can find my link to my course. You can find, and I also have some downloads. I do have a body shape guide and a style avatar and interior style guide that you can download to kind of start the process yourself. So those are free to download from my website.
Yes.
And then of course I'm on social, Facebook as Aesthetics and Style or as Kristina Pernfors, and on Instagram as K Pernfors. But I think, and LinkedIn, of course, I'm Kristina Pernfors as well. So, yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, no, we're happy to share all those links and really encourage you to check out what Kristina offers, because it really is very valuable, very insightful, and gives you things to think about that you may not ordinarily consider, which is important for everything that you do going forward. And so do you have like a favorite book or something that you would recommend for people who want to read more about how to become stylish, or to considerations to think about?
Well, when it comes to personal style and a lot of the things we talked about with body shape and finding your brand, I have a book that my mentor, Cindy Porter, that certified me as a stylist. She wrote this book. It's called Success Through Style, that you can find on Amazon. That's a great book to kind of dig in a little deeper if you enjoy reading. Otherwise, I think anything about branding or personal branding, really, it's all connected. And that's why I think my first career as in advertising and then interior design and style, it all goes together. It's so funny, sometimes you have to go a large way around to find your finish line, but it just all made sense at the end.
And it's all connected as well. It's all related and connected. So,
and especially for us entrepreneurs.
Yes, for entrepreneurs, absolutely. So as we wrap up today, could you share with us a couple more tips on the decor side? I mean, we talked more on the style in general, but like, what does your home office tips for your home decor that we can make us more productive or more happy?
Absolutely. So just like we talked a lot about the brain, how we live really affects our brain as well. So clutter is the worst enemy, again, to our productivity, because the brain can't focus when you have too much stuff lying around. So again, try to purge, try to really clean up and find a home for everything. Instead of just having piles that are moved around, try to find a home for your things. And if it doesn't have a home, maybe it shouldn't be there. So that's, I think, something that we all, it's also, clutter in your home is also linked to weight gain, because we tend to indulge more in unhealthy foods when we live in a messy house. So that's something that's good both for your health and for your brain. And then think about your home, really think about what is it you want to feel when you come through the door? What is the feeling you want in your home? And again, it's going to vary for everyone. So think about what you want your home to say to you when you walk in, and start from there. I think those are great things to think, instead of trying to just buy pieces here and there. Try to think about the overall theme of your home.
And as far as the home office goes, what I know the same thing would hold through with what you just finished saying, but is there anything specific regarding like your desk that we could do right now to supercharge our style on our desk?
Well, again, the clutter is the culprit. Try to find other places for your piles than your desk. And I try to get a smaller desk because then you can't overload it. When you have a large desk, you can put a lot of stuff on it. Think smaller. IKEA does great small desks, right?
They sure do. I'm sitting at an IKEA desk right now. I actually have like an L-shaped desk, and I'm like, I want it bigger and bigger and bigger. But you're right. The bigger it gets, the more you're going to put on it. I just like to lay things out as I'm working. But my policy is try to clean by the end of the day. There should be nothing left on your desk except maybe your computer. Like literally have
that's a great rule. That's a great rule.
Desk policy of paper. But I just think that these tips are so wonderful. They're life lessons more than anything. And well, I mean, we're living our life, so it's all the same thing. It's not even separate. It's not separate.
That's right.
So these are great tips. But Kristina, thank you so much for enlightening us and sharing these gems of wisdom that people can learn from. And so, of course, we invite people to subscribe to the YouTube channel here so you don't miss any of these gems, and comment in the Facebook group. We can answer questions and respond to any thoughts that people have, and just really encourage you all to be here. I just want to also, as a little parting words, remind people to save the date for October 21st for the Supercharged Monthly Mastermind Retreat, where we step back and reflect on things and gain more perspective on our businesses. So that's coming up soon. And you can sign up for that at superchargedwithemily.com/retreats. And that's on its way for you on October 21st. So again, so Kristina, again, it's so wonderful. And I'm so happy to have had this chance to talk with you. Again, I love the course and really encourage people to check it out. And tell us the name of your course. I don't think we highlighted it.
It's called Bring Your Style Bootcamp.
And that's another thing about it. The name, it's Bring Your Style. It's Bring Your Style. And let's tighten it up for you. So it's beautiful, wonderful. And I want to also do a special shout out to Ingrid Hernandez, who was also featured on Supercharged Sunday a few months ago, talking about style and what your makeup and everything. And I know you're great friends with Ingrid. So I thank Ingrid also for connecting with you and bringing you on here today as well to be a part of this Supercharged community and enlighten us all. So
thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Yes. So everybody, till next time, stay supercharged, and thank you for being here too. Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.